join me. Let's do some art. So this is the piece I want to work with today. I found it at a thrift store. It came with a clock which is not working perfectly, but I may yet be able to use it for another project. But for now I want to repair that big crack it has. Now here it says Captain something, so I am thinking that this came from a gift shop on a cruise ship. It is made out of some kind of ceramic, so I'm using some speckling paste to start filling in that big crack. Then of course I need to let it dry really well, and then to strengthen it more I used pieces of white tissue paper and my Mod Podge to create a bit of a paper mache all over it and all around it. I actually at this point decided to cover all the edges of these little wings with a thin layer of paper mache just to make it all resistant to any more cracks, and also to create a surface that will bond much better with anything else I will be gluing to it later on. So this is the way it looks now, and paper mache also needs to dry very thoroughly. So I prop it up over here, and then I start working on two very simple round craft wooden die cuts. Using my tacky glue, I glue the first one as is, and the second one I cut down to size. I smoothed out the edges using some sandpaper and then glued it to the back of it. This gives me a whole free surface to work on. Now I do want to create somewhat of a closure or door for this project, so I start with a plastic lid that has just the right size. I did add a hinge with glue and wire. I also made two small wire loops and added a small screw with a nut right here on the top. And again, I create some paper mache to strengthen those connections and to cover up the wires on the inside of this lid. Now the screw will be part of a very simple closure. The second part will be this hanger, and I attach it with E6000 to the outside, and then again I create more paper mache for strength. So now all the metal pieces are very solid. I did have a problem though with the hinge. It was just a bit too small to function long term. So I replaced it instead with a piece of leather, and that was a much better alternative. Again, I used E6000, and I also tied it up with some elastic balloons to make it dry in the right position. Okay, I think this is a good time to turn you over to some music. From here on, everything will be very easy for you to follow. Like always, I will add anything you need to know, any medium I will be using in the captions. Enjoy the process, and I will talk to you in just a wee bit. And finally, it is done. And of course, I want to give you another close-up look. Let's first check out the outside. The wings have lots of little details, mostly broken jewelry bits. Most are individual pieces. There are a few that repeat on all three of these, including the little rim I wanted to make sure to keep, and for those I used a broken rhinestone necklace. I added some unpainted gears to the nicely textured front here. I also added just one on each of the wings as an afterthought. And then here on the side I have the bigger gears that cover the body of the propeller. Not too many, just enough to make it look complete, and that little metal mesh worked well with it. Here in the back, just some subtle texture and the original hanger, and of course the chain which is secured. Well, let me get you a little closer and then we'll have a look inside. The little closure works really well, and of course the chain prevents the lid from flipping all the way down. Here is my little sign, and if you didn't read it before, it says objects may be larger than they appear. I thought it was just fitting to this mechanical contraption. So of course the whole thing turns around really well on that Lego turntable, and then there are other elements that move as well. The little owl comes forward, it also swivels right and left. And then of course the locket that opens and closes with that little dangling toggle. Now gluing down the main components was a bit tricky. I had to make sure that the locket can easily open and close, and also that none of the elements would touch the sides of the box. Then there are those little bling pieces that bring a little bit of color, and of course the gears and the wing nut which turn as well. Now, in order for this little contraption to look right and detailed, and for all the movable parts to have room to shift, I had to do some layering. I had to create some levels with lots of tiny pieces. Some of the base elements also weren't very leveled, so it was a little tricky, but I think it worked out all right. Especially hard was that combination of the airship, whoops, and the gears, but by using some washers, some beads, it all worked out. Now, when I started with this project, I did have a plan about the lid and the overall look of the outside, but I had no clue of what to do with the inside. I looked through all my stash and my art room, and you would think I would come up with some kind of ready-made focal point, but nothing really seemed to fit. So I created my own, and now I'm glad I did. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching me put this together. Now, before I go, I want to say that this project will be available in my Etsy store today. And with it, I will also list the book I made in my last video. It's an altered book with a fireplace. Many of you will remember. And the third new item in my shop will be the elephant, which I made a couple of months ago. It opens, it has storage space. Anyway, all the details will be part of the listing. So please do follow the link below to check out my shop. The February discount sale is still on, and there are lots of items available for you. Thank you so much for visiting with me today. I will see you really soon again. Stay well and creative. Bye bye for now.